Good morning, everyone. This morning I sat down with my breakfast and morning coffee like a typical day, and I turned on the news. I try to limit my exposure to the news, but this morning's news story featured a woman. I don't know what state she was in. I don't think it was where I live, but she did have like a small farm, and I'm not sure if the structure that they were discussing in the news was part of her home or a separate building. I have no idea. I just watched it briefly before turning it off. And they were saying that she had squatters. So apparently, whatever building this was, I don't believe it was the main house on the property. I could be wrong. She turned it into an Airbnb. And she said that next thing she knew, she had squatters living there. And the squatters told her that they were given rights to stay there by the prior tenant. Police wouldn't do anything because the squatters had a fake, it was a lease. The squatters had a fake lease. And the police told the lady that owned this property, even aside from the fact that she had animals, horses, chickens, I think goats were in the mix too. And they said to her, it's a civil matter, there's nothing we can do about it. These types of stories are all online and have erupted on YouTube ever since I've been watching YouTube in the past year, since 2025. So it is scary, you have a piece of property, or you have a house, or you have an Airbnb, and people just move in. I saw a lady in Florida once, and her home was totally destroyed. They even put holes in the sheetrock. Well, actually more than that, not even put holes in it, but literally tore it off the walls. She had to reconstruct basically the entire frame of the house. It was terrible. And then I saw other things just like it. I saw a doctor. He had a piece of land on the waterfront and he was going to build a house. Somebody took his property and they built a house on it, and he didn't know until the house was half finished. It's really frightening that people can do this. And they say, if you do have a vacant property or a house or a piece of land, guard it with everything you can. Even some towns now in the United States have set up databases where you can register for free, and they'll notify you if somebody files anything on the land records pertaining to your property. The irony here makes my skin crawl, though. If you've ever sat through a real estate closing or bought a piece of land, bought a house, any of the above, even rented an apartment, you know what you have to go through to secure that. If it's a rental agreement, you have to sign a multi-page form. The landlord is going to want to do a background check your IDs, make sure everything is in order. If you have a real estate closing, paperwork galore, verify and prove the identification of the buyer, especially if there was a loan involved. Now there's all kinds of loan documents. The bank has its own requirements, and that's crazy in itself. I don't know if you've ever refied a property. If you've ever gone through that, it's worse, it seems like. Real estate ownership comes with a lot of responsibility. Just like paying the mortgage. If you don't pay the mortgage, banks will foreclose. There are different names for this type of position, whatever you call it, whether it's sheriff, process server, whatever your state calls it. That person is given authority to go to the home that's being foreclosed, serve papers on the owners to tell them they're being foreclosed. They also have the authority to remove belongings, and they literally put the belongings on the street corner, no matter what it is. Could be mementos, could be baby photos. It doesn't matter. They are allowed to do that when somebody's property is foreclosed. Now that we know how difficult it is to pretty much transact business in banks and real estate, isn't it ironic that somebody that's maybe lived in their house for 10, 15, even 30 years can be kicked out in a matter of months, and there's stuff left to rot on the street corner, and they're physically removed from the house and they can't go back in it, and the keys are given back to the bank? But squatters, not forcefully removed. They are left to do as much damage, move anybody in there, ruin the place, wreck the place. And it becomes a matter of civil court where the owner, the rightful legal owner of the property, spends thousands of dollars and ends up in court for months. That's the irony here, folks. It just really baffles me. How can this be? Also, during this news story, I learned, I didn't know this before, that squatters will often, in addition to having a fake rental agreement or lease agreement, they can actually put utilities in their name, posing as a tenant. I was surprised by that. Not a lot shocks me. That one shocked me because not too long ago, within the past few years, I actually rented separate space. I rented space to have a dedicated craft area. The place was under 1,000 square feet. It was on the top floor of a commercial building. You would not believe what I had to go through to secure that place. But in order to get that lease, I had to go through a background check, a credit check. I had to go through piles and piles of paperwork through the realtor for her records. You got squatters that can easily put electricity in their name. I couldn't even easily do that. When I left the space, it was a complete hassle to deactivate my account. Not only was it a hassle to activate an account, it was a hassle to deactivate the account. I don't understand how random people that just take over a property can do all these things without the hassle of what I went through to do something legitimate and legal. And here you have squatters that can just go in a house, tear it to pieces, and then have no trouble at all signing up for things in their name. It baffles me. So in watching this news story, this particular landowner hired a company called Squatter Squad. I was cracking up laughing at my TV this morning. This is fantastic. It's a team of ex-military people, apparently. And they have a bounty hunter in this particular state, wherever it is. And the bounty hunter can actually arrest people with a criminal background. So they were explaining their process. And they said normally it will take like $100,000 in a year to get a squatter out of your house. But with their services, and I don't know what they charge, they've been successful in getting squatters out in just months' time without that $100,000 price tag. And they hire this bounty hunter and they do a background check on the squatters. And when they find out who these people are, if they have a criminal record, the bounty hunter can arrest them and get them out. I thought that was genius. I'm like, this is fantastic because I hadn't heard of this before. All I hear about are the outcomes of stories with the $100,000 bill and the ruined house. Thank you so much for watching today. Take care.